Hello there, welcome to NameTech channel. My name is Nehemiah, and I'm very much happy to have you on board. So today we are going to discuss about the Python for loops. But I guess before we get started, I always say that I take a second or two, click the red button, the subscribe button, and also the thumbs up or the like button. And to the returning subscribers, I really appreciate you for the immense support. But you can like the video so that YouTube may recommend this video to more viewers. And then guys, there's also the join button. You can join the membership of this channel so that you may have access to premium source code, both front end and back end. And also you'll have privileges to access the pre-activated softwares like the Photoshop, Premiere Pro, those are editing softwares, and all kind of software, guys. You are going to access them free of charge. So guys, without further ado, let me begin straight away. I say that we are going to discuss about the for loops, Python for loops. So a for loop is used for iterating over a sequence that is either a list, a tuple, or a dictionary, a set, or a string, and so forth. Perhaps let me try to write here an example for you to understand better. And then guys, I'm going to introduce here a variable name for fruits. I like using fruits actually, fruits. And then by the way, guys, I'm using PyCharm. This is my favorite integrated development environment for Python. But I have other notebooks like Visual Studio Code. We have many of them. You can write on whichever text editor you have. But PyCharm is best for these Python tutorials. So guys, let me say fruit, introduce fruit, and then guys, I'm going to use a list here. I'm going to print fruits in a fruit list. So let me say introduce the angle square bracket, and these are I guess they are called the square brackets. And then let me say apple, the first one. The second one, let me say banana. You can give it any name, guys. This is just my preference for the sake of tutorial. Then the third one, let me say cherry. Cherry, or you can give it any name. And then guys, now in this second line, I want to introduce the for loop here. So then x in fruits. Then again, remember to close this statement with the semicolon. Then to execute this code, we are going to use the print function. You remember, we use the print function to execute these codes in our terminal. Then x, the variable, the x. Now guys, to run it, you remember the shortcut to run. You click on this run button. Then to the run, then you are going to select the file that you want to run. And then if you don't know the file name, you can find it on this top left corner here. So once you click on it, then it's going to open the terminal here. And then I guess you can see that we have printed out the list there. You have the apple, banana, cherry, and so forth. So guys, the for loop does not require an indexing variable to be set beforehand. So guys, let me talk about the looping through a string. So guys, even strings are iterable objects. They contain a sequence of characters. So let me just write this example. So guys, I want us to loop through the letters in the word perhaps banana or cherry. Let me say cherry. So let me just say cherry here, and then here let me just clear everything. Or perhaps let me just clear this first line, and then I guess here instead of in fruits, let me say but by the way, let me say NameTech actually is my name. By the way, is a string, so you must introduce the quotation marks. So let me say NameTech. And I guess I don't know how you pronounce it. Let me know in the comment section. But for me, I always pronounce it as NameTech. NEHMTECK. So if you want to search for this channel, you can search on this name, or perhaps on the website. Actually, the website, the domain name is nametech.com. So it depends with how you pronounce it, but the spelling is NAHMTECH. So now to print it, then you're going to click on the Shift plus F10. This is the shortcut to actually to run these codes in our terminal. And then guys, you can see that we have what the name tag here. So basically guys, you can look through the letters in the word in words. So guys, briefly let me talk about the break statement. So with the break statement, we can stop the loop before it has looped through all the items. So let me try to exit the loop when the x is perhaps in banana. Let me just begin afresh again here guys. So let me say fruits. Actually fruits is my variable name. You can give it any name, or perhaps this time let me say names. Then assign it to this list. And then let me say the first one, let me say Nehemiah. My name is Nehemiah. And then guys, there's something that I wanted to tell you at the beginning of this video. Very soon I want us to begin the live streaming classes. So if you are interested guys, you can support me so that I can organize for equipments for live streaming. So you can send me anything small on 0707967928. Actually the country code is for Kenya is 254 actually 254. Then my number is 0707967928. So guys, I'll appreciate anything you'll contribute, you'll support me. So guys, when I say Nehemiah, this is the first item in this list. So let me say the second one, let me give it something like let me say John. And then the third one, let me give it any name, like let me say Abigail, gender balance. And then guys, in this second line, let me say what let me introduce the 4 keywords. So let me say for x in fruits, for x in fruits. Then you do what, actually it's not fruits, this is names. I said names. So let me say you close with the colon there. And then here in this third line, let me introduce the print function. And then let me say x. And then guys, I say that I want us to introduce the break the break statement. And then before that, let me introduce this if x equals to banana. So let me say banana. Banana, actually not really banana actually guys. This is, let me say John. And then introduce what, before I do anything, let me close with the colon. Then let me say break. Then to run it, you remember Shift plus what, plus F10. You got it right. So guys, you can see that we have break from to John. So actually it breaks to John. So actually if you have several items there, then you reach John, then it will break the the list. Or perhaps let me introduce the integers here, like let me use integers like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, actually 4, and so forth. So let me say what, let me say break to 3. So Shift plus what, plus F10. And then I guess you can see that when it reaches 3, then it does what, it breaks. So guys, basically this I can break a loop. So guys, briefly let me talk about the continuous statement. Now with the continuous statement, we can stop the current iteration of the loop and continue with the next. So guys, let me talk about this the range function. Now to look through a set of code of a specific number of items, we can use the range function. Now the range function returns a sequence of numbers, starting from 0 by default, then with an increment by 1 just by default, and then ends with a specified number. So let me just write here an example guys, for you to get it very very well. So let me say for x in range, and then you introduce this parenthesis, the brackets, Then let me say what? Let me say 10. You close with what? It's called the colon. The colon. Then let me say print. Print what? Print the x. So shift plus what? Plus F10 to run. Then at the terminal, guys, you can see that we have what? We have these stuffs here. So this is what's called the now the range. So it returns a sequence of numbers, starting from 0 by default, and then guys, we have seen then it ends at a specific number. You saw that by default it begins by 0, but you can change it to a specific number so that it may begins perhaps from 2 to that value. So let me just write here an example. If I introduce the two values here, like and let me say what? Let me say begin from perhaps 3 to 10. So it's going to begin from what? From 3. So if you not introduce 3, then it's going to begin from 0. But if you introduce another value there, so it's going to begin from 3, and then I guess you can see that it has begun from actually 3 to 10 to 9. So basically, guys, this is how you can do it. This is how you can change the the starting value. So and then I guess the range function default to the increment by the sequence by 1. Actually, the sequence it increases by 1. That is by default, but you can specify the increment value by adding the third parameter. Like let me change here to something like 30, and then I want it to go by 33. So let me say 3, and let me say 3. So shift plus what? Shift plus F10 to run, and then I guess you can see that it has begun from 3, 6, 9, 12 to 27. So guys, briefly let me talk about the else in the for loop. So the else keyword in a for loop, specify a block of code to be executed when the loop is finished. So perhaps let me write here an example, and then guys, you are going to realize that it's going to print the numbers from actually 0. I'm going to change. Let me just change it. Let me say 10 here. Let me say 10. So it's going to print from 0 to 9, and then I'm going to introduce another message at the end, so that it tells us that our range has ended. So let me say what? Instead of, let me introduce the else what? The else keyword here. Let me say the else, and then I do what? You close with the these it's called the colon, full colon. Then let me say what? Let me say print, and then I use this string. Then let me say finally. Is this the spelling for finally? I don't know. Finally finished. So basically you can use this kind of the else keyword in the for loop to introduce this message. And then as you can see here, the terminal will have the the other number. So it does print all the numbers from 0 to 9, and then it prints a message when the loop has ended. So but then note that the else block will not be executed if the loop I stopped by the break statement. Like if I introduce the break, like let me say in this second line, let me say if x equals to, actually the equals to perhaps let me say 5. So when it will reach 5, it will not continue. So I'm going to say break, and then run shift plus what? Plus F10, and then I guess you can see that when it reaches the 5th item, it does what? It breaks it. It does not print what the that else block. So basically this one applies when the just only when you don't have the break statement. Nested loop is a loop which is inside a loop. So it's a loop inside a loop. So the inner loop will be executed one time for each iteration of the of the outer loop. So let me write this example here. So let me say adjective. I'm going to introduce the adjective here as the variable name, the first variable name, and then I'm going to assign it to perhaps let me say let me use the list, guys. Let me use the list. Then let me say what? Let me say red. Perhaps let me say big. And then let me say what? I don't know the specific order. Then let me say tasty. Is it this is this the spelling for tasty? Let me say tasty. Yeah, tasty. And then do what? Let me say what? Let me introduce the other item, other variable name. Let me say fruits. Let me say fruits, and then assign it to this list. Then let me say what? The first one to be apple, and then the second one to be what? Let me say banana. Then the third one, let me say cherry. Let me say cherry. And then now, guys, I want us to introduce here the for loop here, and then I shall also add the nested loop. So let me say for x in adjective, in that adjective, and then let me close with this colon, and then sorry. So let me close with this colon, and then let me say what? Let me say for y in fruits. Then I close with what? With the colon. Then let me say print how to execute these codes. Print the x, also y. So guys, to run it, you remember the shortcut, which is shift plus what? Plus F10. And then you can see that we have these are nested loops. So guys, you can see that we have this nested loop here, and then you have seen that the inner loop is executed one time for each iteration of the outer loop. So basically, this is how you can do it. You can this is all about the nested loops. So now let me talk about this the pass statement, actually the final thing that we are going to discuss in this video. So with the for loop, the pass statement. Now for loops cannot be empty, but if you for some reason have a for loop with no content, now you put the pass statement to avoid getting an error. So basically the pass will just help you to avoid the error. Like let me say for x in perhaps let me say 0 0 1 2 and so forth. So when I say pass, it will not do it. It will not print what? It will not give an error. It will not print anything, but it will not show the error. Shift plus what? Shift plus F10. Before I run it, remember to close with the colon. Shift plus F10, and then I can see that you don't have anything here. You don't have any value there, but it does not print what? The error there. So guys, basically this is what I wanted to show you in this video. Please take a second and then click the red button, and also you can join this channel membership so that you may have access to premium features from NameTech. So guys, share this video to more people, and until next time, goodbye.